we send it back out to our listing. So everybody has access to this video recording. That's people that come to this caucus.
You're all set.
Thank you, Don. So as I was saying earlier, first of all, thank you. Welcome to this first meeting of the year for the Animal Advocacy Caucus. Today is going to be a slightly different type of meeting. What we're going to do is we're going to focus on one bill, which is our priority bill for the year. We'll just go through a summary of what the bill would be expected to be. We're still working on language, so there's no language really to share at this moment, but it's in the works. There was a bill introduced in 2020. There was a bill introduced in 2021. So there's plenty of language on the record. I think what I want to do is staying away from language, because since we don't have a finalized language, and go through this a sort of summary of the bill, and then we'll open it up to questions. Particularly, it would be interesting to first answer questions to legislators, because if they're going in and out of this meeting because of the appropriations committee meeting, then it would be good to make sure that they get their questions and then they can go in and out of the room if they need to. So I'll start, and I wanted to also thank the advocates, particularly Joanne and Annie, for helping with putting notes together. We are talking about an act concerning the use of exotic or wild animals in traveling animal acts. And basically what the bill says is you cannot use wild or exotic animals in traveling shows. There are exemptions. I'll try to knock that out of the way right away for accredited zoos, wildlife sanctuaries, educational programs, falconry, and research institutions. The definition of exotic or wild animals is broad. You have tigers, lions, bears, elephants, and then including but not limited to I'm going to try and pronounce these well. I did study Latin and I did study Greek in French high school, and it's pretty far away. So maybe I'll put in some American accent mixed with it. So Cetartiodactyla, which are whales and dolphins, like cetaceans. Crocodilian, I don't think I need to translate that. Elasmobranchi, which is sharks, rays, and skates. The felines, so Felidae, tigers, lions. Marsupialia, those that carry their young in a pouch. Non-human primates. Perissodactyla, which is horses, zebras, I believe donkeys, rhinos as well. I think it's only in the toes. The Pinnipedian seals, and I think also there are Proboscidae, retites, Phenacidae, and Ursidae, which I think are the last one I know by heart. I think are sea urchins. I think maybe I'm completely wrong, and it could be actually bears, but I didn't check that word. Ursidae should be bears. Definition of traveling animal act: any performance of exotic or wild animals where such animals are transported to, from, or between locations in a mobile or traveling housing facility. And DEEP is the agency of oversight. Why is the bill needed? So traveling shows simply cannot meet the needs of wild animals. Animals in traveling circuses endure long periods in intense confinement, physical and social deprivation, and brutal, violent methods of control. They also cannot meet those needs. There's abnormal stereotypic behaviors such as pacing or swaying. I don't know how many people in this Zoom did see that video of that that young kangaroo that was just pacing around at Goshen, and it was one of their attractions, and just people could just try and grab and or touch and pet a young kangaroo that was just pacing in circles, clearly in, I think, not happy and should not have been prone to this. So These are things that are just common abnormalities that are seen in circus animals, indicating that the animals are simply stressed or worse. Public safety threat or poor oversight is also why the bill is needed. Keeping stressed wild animals in dangerously close proximity to the public in lightweight temporary enclosures has resulted in both escapes and human death and injury. Further, local law enforcement is typically called on to respond and recapture a safety risk for first responders, right? So the another reason in terms of public safety, the Office of the Inspector General has reported difficulties in USDA oversight, including inspector deficiencies, lack of expert advice, and record-keeping problems. I'll say that when I did send FOIA requests to USDA in regards to that kangaroo or in regards to the elephant, just barely anything came back, if actually anything at all, unfortunately. And then why the bill is needed is also, there are no jobs lost with an animal circus ban. Animal circus attendance is in clear decline, while human performance shows are in demand and growing. Like all businesses, circuses do need to change with the times to stay relevant and profitable. I've seen several circus shows, but they only had humans, and that was in Vegas while I was doing my trade shows for eyewear every year, going to see these amazing, I can't remember the name of those shows, but incredible acrobatics and worth the detour. Also, the human-only performance create jobs, right, without exposing citizens to stressed and abused animals. I mean, let's think about it also. When a kid sees a distressed animal, what are we really bringing to that child, right? What is the impact? So there are other states and municipalities that have restricted those type of shows. I believe it's more than 100 local circus animal prohibitions in 30, I think in about 33 states. Yeah, 33 states. And those local prohibitions were also done in Bridgeport and Stamford. The statewide bans, I believe, are in Hawaii, California, Colorado, Illinois, New York, and New Jersey. And I think that's about it in terms of the recap. I would just open it up for questions on this bill. Questions, concerns, anything.
David, did you say 33 states already have it?
So 33 states have local restrictions, meaning cities in 33 states have restrictions. So, and then in terms of the state broad restriction or ban, that's, how many states was that? That's Hawaii, California, Colorado, Illinois, New York, and New Jersey. So that's 6 states at least. There might be more. I'm not entirely sure, but I know for sure those 6 states have a broadband. Yeah. Any comments or any questions? I mean, this is once this bill is basically drafted, it will be. So it should be brought up in environment, and so that's.
Dave Labriola has his hand up, David.
Oh, sorry, Rick Labriola.
How you doing, Dave? Thanks for what you do on this caucus, you and Nicole. We really appreciate it. I guess just a general strategy question. I know there are a lot of different priorities for our caucus and for our animal caucus. And I'm just wondering if we can sort of narrow it down, because I think this should be one of our real top priorities. And it seems to me that it might be a case where less is more. And if we do focus our energies on this and maybe a couple other bills, maybe we'd be more successful. That's just my 2 cents.
Thank you, David. And it's a good comment, because maybe some people might be confused. I did mention this bill as the top priority bill for the caucus. We in the first meeting, so 2 meetings ago, after the 2021 session, what we did is Nicole and I also met with some of the advocates, and we looked over the bills. And on that first meeting, 2 meetings ago, what we did is we introduced those meetings as our priority bills. I think there were 10 items. One of them is not a bill. It's more of a countering bear hunting bills. But it is very clear that in consensus with all the advocacy groups, the top priority bill, and it's been also shared this way with the chair of environment, is this bill for this year. It seems to be an easier bill than a lot of other bills that we have in our priority list. Seems less controversial. The chair of environment has already previously supported this bill in the past. So we're thinking that the thinking behind it is that this probably is the most logical, and that makes the most sense as the sort of big push that does not keep us from pushing for other bills. And I did talk with the chair of environment to try and make sure that we establish that hopefully that we're not going to be limited to one bill this year, like it was sort of done last session. And we're very much also behind a tethering bill. We're very much behind the other priorities that were brought up in about, I think it was 2 meetings ago. We also had sent a recap of those 10 items. Those are the priority bills. There could be so many more bills, David. I couldn't even start. I mean, every year I hear a lot. And, it's difficult because you're thinking, how do we go about it? Is it the bill that's going to be the easiest? Is it the bill that's going to be with the most support from the chair themselves? Is it the bill that's going to be bringing the longest public hearing? We have to go over all those criterias. And this bill has come up every single year, even with my old co-chairs, with Brenda Kupchik and Fred Camillo. That was one of the priority bills that just kept coming back every year. So we figured in a short session, we know, or we have the idea that if it's controversial, most likely it won't survive. And so we're trying to go with an effective animal rights bill. There's been this issue of Goshen. There's been many advocates across the state that have just complained year after year, month after month. We have an issue with the Minnie the elephant at Goshen. Unfortunately, she's left the only remaining elephant. 2 passed away. One, I believe both, as a matter of fact, from medical complications. So I would consider that neglect. The zoo in question has been offered not compensation, but has been offered to release that elephant at no cost to them, to sanctuaries. They refuse. And this actually brings up one of the items that we might have to discuss also during this meeting is in the language, we want to make sure that that we don't exempt, or that we make sure that how we define the animals not being, I'm trying to remember the word. I'm sorry, I'm having a brain. But we want to make sure that they cannot say that, oh, but our elephant is my pet, is our pet. We've had this elephant so long, he's part of our family, is no longer an exotic and wild animal. And so these are the things that we have to be careful in the definitions. I'm thinking of that because of Goshen's replies to many, many letters and many emails. Even U.S. Senator Blumenthal tried to help. I mean, there's been help generated on every level. Still no change. People have asked the governor as well. The governor has not really moved on this. So this is an outstanding issue. And that seems to raise the biggest, I think, my perspective, the biggest outcry from the general public.
Well, thank you. I do think it's a good approach that you're taking, you and Nicole. I appreciate it. We did have a bunch of co-sponsors on the bill last year, so hopefully we can get it over the finish line this year.
Thank you, David.
Exactly.
Yeah,
David,
Yes.
David, is the tethering bill, did you say that's going to public safety?
So we don't know where tethering is going yet. I would refer to Rep Devlin and Rep Leeper. But that being said, in 2 weeks from today, on the 27th, we will have another caucus meeting to talk about that particular bill, the tethering bill. Tethering also has been an outstanding issue throughout the state. Cities have been trying to address it, and I think it only makes sense that the state does as well. So we will have a presentation on the tethering bill on the 27th, and we'll make sure to send you an email soon about that meeting with a registration link way ahead of time than this one was sent.
Hey, David, it's Jill Alibrandi. Just wanted to mention, and I don't know when the appropriate time is, because I think where we ran into issues in previous years is just anticipating whether the Environment Committee was going to raise the bill. But I have hundreds of signed petitions that, stand, I mean, literally like 500, 600 across the state that I submitted as evidence a couple of years ago, I think 2020. But we're ready to go as far as providing all of that backup, documentation. It's just a matter of, getting it across that beginning point. So really looking for the chair, the co-chairs, the vice chairs to give us some kind of, gauging if they're going to even introduce it or not would be helpful.
Right. No, and I agree. I mean, I'm not sure we necessarily need that like right away, but the conversations with the chairs have been positive. So I'm confident. I don't want to put pressure on the chair without the chair being here, but it seems very positive at this point in time. And hopefully, I would say, so if the next meeting would be the 27th, I think potentially trying to get another more broad meeting of the caucus could potentially work well a week later, right when bills are being introduced, just in case. And so maybe we can go back over the whole list of 10 and see what kind of status we're looking at. And that's it. But for this bill, it looks quite positive at this point. Again, it's a short session. Our input is limited. The chair's input is the most important. So we're going to work on that, continue working on that. Yeah.
David, this is Karen Lasky. I thought maybe with the message to children, we could partner with the Children's Committee, or at least get some co-sponsors about the issue of especially bullying, what that sends to children.
Sure. I mean, look, I think any emails going out to chairs, vice chairs, and committee in regards to more details or more validation of this bill is certainly welcome, for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Amy, did you raise your hand? I couldn't tell.
Who did you say? Did you say Amy or Annie? I never can.
No, Amy. Yeah. I was asking if you raised your hand. Sorry, I thought I saw you. And now I see Annie's hand is raised.
Okay, no worries. I do have a question though, if I can have one moment. I'm just curious if you've gotten any information on what this session will look like from the perspective of the public, and are legislators going to be, strictly remote? What does it look like this year, as far as you know?
So I've only had, I don't know about the consensus between all caucuses. So for now, all I could say is that I would not expect it to be much better than last year.
Yeah, I'm right. I agree with David. We haven't received confirmation yet, but from what's going on, we're all assuming it's going to be exactly the same as last year.
Yeah, if not worse. Sorry, can it be worse?
Yeah. Well, okay, I'm trying to be positive.
Well, not on COVID, but on the way to conduct the whole session.
So do you think you would get the directive to have limited bills? With last session, if I'm not mistaken, there was a message to have a limited
They always
amount
do
of
that.
bills.
They always want us to do that. So it's
Okay.
not, it's always a strong suggestion, but it's not mandated.
Thank you.
Rep Cheeseman, I'm sorry, Annie, just to make sure. Rep Cheeseman, I think you wanted to speak.
Two things. I'm cautiously optimistic that, you know, we might be remote during February and maybe even part of March. I think certainly my read is once this Omicron subsides, which they're predicting may happen, that we could certainly, I know my caucus, not to speak for everyone, will certainly be advocating for a return to more normal operations, and we might be able to see that once numbers go down. So, and yeah, with regard to Representative Clara Destri's, yeah, I think, yes, the recommendation is out there, but if my recollection serves me, we had even more bills submitted last year than we do in a normal year. So I think recommendations are just that, recommendations. Thank you, Representative Michelle.
Nope, thank you.
Thank you, Holly.
Annie, followed by Joanne.
Yes, first I want to thank you, Representatives Michelle and Clara Destri for all your leadership on these issues, and to Representative Cheeseman and Labriola for being here today as well. I do want to just, point out that I think this bill has a very good chance this year, in large part because all the animal groups are standing united behind this bill as a priority bill. And we're going to fight hard. We're mobilizing voters. This is an election year, and we're going to keep pressing from every angle we can. And we're grateful for your leadership on this, and we look forward to a successful attempt at passage of this bill this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Annie. Joanne?
There we go. Hi. Yeah, I just also wanted to say that, again, thank you on the part of for Connecticut Votes for Animals to all of you that have been involved and supportive of this initiative. I had a meeting in late fall with the co-chair of the Environment Committee, Representative Palm, who indicated her strong support for this bill. So that's a positive thing. And I believe, David, you've also spoken. I know you said you've spoken to all the chairs and co-chairs, I presume.
So I was really referring to the vice chair who was acting, who has been acting co-chair or is big support to
Representative,
Chair.
yeah, Representative Palm. Great, terrific.
Exactly. So yeah.
The other just thing, David, it's a point of clarification when you mentioned that our next caucus was going to be talking about tethering. It is actually, it's really adequate shelter for dogs left outside.
Yes. Sorry,
we already have a tethering law, and and we're trying to go back to something that we passed in 2018. So.
Yes, correct. And I'm sorry for that. I should have
No, I just wanted to make sure that other people were, I know you know, I just wanted to make sure that other people understood that we're talking about adequate shelter, particularly in light of this, the weather conditions that we're in right now.
Anybody else? What I could do is shift it to the last part of the meeting, which would be basically if anybody has any other items, anything else they want to bring up, or even any other efforts, etc. So I'll leave it open, and if anybody has anything they'd like to share, just go ahead. Give it a few seconds. Again, so then I'll just at least make the announcement again. 27th, mark on your calendars that this will be the day that we are going to review and discuss the adequate shelter and tethering bill. And hopefully a week later, which is in the middle of a messy schedule, probably for everyone, we'll try to have another meeting, just because we'll be close to the end of the bill introduction or concept bill introduction period, I guess, for chairs. So as we get closer to that, we want to make sure we're all reconvening and make sure that everything is going as sort of as planned. And if not, then we'll have to grind gears and work on that. Co-chair Nicole, anything?
Nope, short and sweet today.
Good. All
It'll
right.
be a little bit longer on the 27th.
I believe so. Yeah. Yeah. So thank you very much, everyone. Again, this bill has been introduced several times. I think most people are quite aware of what it does, what its intention is. And as soon as we have that we have language vetted by the vice chair, then we will share it with everyone, because such is the process. And
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day. And keep warm and keep your loved ones warm.